Okay, I'm going to keep this one short because I don't really know what Amazon and all the affiliated parties are doing with this franchise, but I have to say the Hanna movie, as far as that stands, is one of my favorite films. And I look, this isn't what I expected, but it's not really as bad as I anticipated. Let's get into it. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Okay, so normally when I do these reviews for individual episodes, I focus on weekly shows. When it comes to streaming services, I can't do that. But because Hanna has been given to us, at least the first episode, after the Super Bowl and the premiere is in March, I can focus on this. This is a show that I was intending to watch and cover on this channel, so hopefully you guys are interested in it as well. But this first episode, nothing really bad about it. I have to say, it's kind of crazy to me that nothing about this episode was good or bad, just kind of building up the story. And it's kind of sad that we have to wait almost an entire month in order to get the rest of this story thrown at us, because this was just building up to the inevitable story that they're trying to get to in the inevitable first season of this show. Hopefully there's more seasons, because the idea of a Hanna television show has always interested me. I was on the cusp of this when this film was first released in theaters. I just wanted this film to get a sequel because it was just so well put together. And you know, kind of off topic here, so just skip around a couple of minutes if you don't want to get involved in my own personal life and my own stories when it comes to the way that I experience movies and franchises and films and stories and all that other stuff. But when it comes to Hanna is still the one and only movie I've ever gone to see in D-Box. I don't know why. Me and my dad went to go see it. We decided, hey, they have it on D-Box. Let's go watch it. Let's go experience this firsthand. And I have to say, the absolute masterpiece for the Chemical Brothers soundtrack for that film, along with the D-Box seats and just experiencing it for the very first time in that environment, not really knowing what you're going to get yourself into, really going into it purely blind the first weekend, not knowing anything about it. Crazy. One of the best film experiences I've ever had. And it's kind of crazy that I've never done D-Box since then, because I've known a lot of people in my time who think that D-Box is not worth the money, but it really depends on the movie. It depends on the soundtrack and the way that that seat just reacts to everything. So Hanna was a fantastic film to watch in D-Box, and it really kind of gravitated towards me. I bought the film immediately as it came on Blu-ray, and I've watched it a couple times since. So I was always really skeptical whether or not this television show was going to work on Amazon. And I am not convinced yet. Now, like I said, this episode didn't do anything to convince me one way or the other. It was serviceable. It was building up the story. It was kind of doing in an hour, nearly an hour, 45 minutes or so's worth of time, what the movie did in the first 5 or 10 minutes, just really stretching out the relationship between Hanna and her father and really explaining what is going on. And I'm assuming, for the most part, based on everything that I've seen thus far, that the entire first season is going to be gaining or taking from the movie and expressing that narrative in a much more fleshed out way. I don't know if that's what they're going to do. We're going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, it always felt to me like this story can be drawn out and expanded in a way that felt genuine, and I think that this is the best way to do it. This Amazon Prime television show represents the reunion between Mireille Enos and Joel Kinnaman from AMC's The Killing franchise. If you've never watched that show, please go watch it. It is amazing. I actually sat down and watched the first 2 seasons of that show in one sitting. It was so enthralling, and I definitely recommend it. But this has really just been on the top of my list ever since it was announced. And even though I don't have a whole lot to go on, this episode didn't really do a whole lot for me. It didn't put me off of the idea of this show altogether. They're taking their time, they're building the characters, they're building the narrative in the exact same way the film did. And maybe that is the bad part here. Maybe them taking their time and trying to really extract all the best plot points and character moments from any given point of the film in the future is going to bog down this television show, and sort of, instead of this show trying to be its own thing, it's going to rely too much on the source material, at least in the first season. But I think it's possible that this is just kind of growing pains. Unlike shows in the past, but more so the streaming content that we see today is focused way more on binge-worthy material than simply week-to-week format television, where they're building up the story in a way that's engaging in the very first couple of minutes, instead of something where the audience realizes and understands that they can watch the very next episode if they're interested in the series immediately after the episode that they get. And so it doesn't really matter one way or the other whether the first episode is as engaging as it needs to be, because you can just simply keep going and watching the series as it progresses, because they give you everything up front, at least in terms of an entire season's worth of television to watch. They didn't give us that with this. Maybe that was their intention when they first made this show, and they didn't realize that Amazon was going to give it to us right after the Super Bowl in order to make this show bigger than it really needs to be. But giving this episode to us right after the Super Bowl definitely shows a vote of confidence to us, the viewer, that Amazon wants this show to thrive and continue not only for this season, but for multiple seasons. As I've said, there's nothing in this episode that really goes away or shies too far away from the first 10 or so minutes from the movie. So if you don't really want spoilers, if you don't want to jump into this season until they give us all of it all at once, and it's only going to be up for 24 hours, so if you miss it, all you have to do is go and watch the first 10 minutes of the movie, and you're pretty much caught up with everything that this episode gave us. As for everyone in it, everything is fine. Like, I can't, it's weird. It's just the weirdest thing in my opinion. It's all good. It's progressing in a way that I think is interesting and is going to allow for greater depth with characters and the narrative from the film version. But at the same time, it doesn't allow enough opportunity to expand past what we already know from the movie version of this television show. So, I mean, take that what you will. I personally can't wait to see the rest of the season as it premieres, but this is just, you know, just a couple minutes of my general thoughts with the first episode of Hanna on Amazon Prime. So it's only going to be up for a couple of hours. If you have the time to see it right after the Super Bowl, then make sure to go check it out if you want to see it on your own. If not, it's going to be up all of it around March. So hope everyone has enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. If you want me to cover more of the Hanna show as it premieres and we get the rest of the season later in March of 2019, then make sure to tell me in the comment section below, because like I said, this is a show that I really want to explore and think about more as it goes on. In fact, because this show just premiered and I'm just sitting down talking about it with you guys right now, I haven't really thought about it more so than what I already know from the film franchise to this television show and everything in between. So I need to watch it again before it goes off air, and maybe I'll make a follow-up video for this. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As I said, it's been real.